Welcome back to Fire Emblem Heroes of Light and Shadow, and let's end this, shall we? The last chapter clearly wasn't the final battle, but is this one? Well, actually, this chapter can be the final chapter if you weren't a perfectionist early on. I'll explain how we get to it, but suffice to say, if you didn't get all the Star Sphere shards, or collect all the orbs, then the game will end with this chapter. If not, it continues for about another 5. So, yeah, you do want to collect those things, because otherwise, yeah, you'll miss out on 5 whole chapters, including the final side quest where the assassin subplot is brought to a close, so you don't want to miss that. Anyway, so, yes, Arden is now called the Dark Emperor, which is kind of a, well, fairly generic title, I'll be honest, but I guess it fits. Oh, and this bit is pretty awesome, I love this line. Well, except it may not be. Certainly looks a lot better, that line, than everybody charged into Palez Castle. I've probably already explained the whole Palez issue before, but anyway. Here is this conversation with Jagan here. Now, the developers realized here that the fact that the light sphere is required in order to even damage Hardin, the developers decided, well, let's remind the player, let's completely beat the player over the head with this, so they remember to bring the light sphere. In the original Mystery of the Emblem, you only got 1 warning for this, and this was, I believe it also came on the battle at the start of the battle preparation screen. In this game, you actually get 2, one in the form of that, which I presume was the one from the original Mystery of the Emblem, I think, and one in the form of a base conversation. You know, I always, yeah, like here, this conversation here on the light sphere, yes, this is the second warning you get. So basically, the game feels the need to remind you twice that you have to bring the light sphere to this chapter. Now, fortunately in this game, given that Marth can access the convoy at any time, and that it's impossible to drop or otherwise lose the light sphere, I'm pretty sure there's no way you can possibly make this chapter completely unwinnable. In the original Mystery, I believe you might have been able to. I'm not sure, but I've heard a lot of people reporting that it was possible to make this unwinnable in some way. I don't know the specifics of it, but I think, yeah, that probably is the case. Now, with games being a little more polished these days, they're taking precautions to ensure that you can never actually permanently lose the light sphere. So even if you forget to equip it to one of your characters in the preparation screen, you can always have Marth take it out of the convoy later. So the only way you get stuck is if you somehow don't know how to use Marth's convoy option, which you really should by now, to be honest. Now anyway, let's look at the map. We have firstly a thief there with 21 speed, and heroes with 21 speed. That's a lot more dangerous. One with a silver axe, sages with Thoron. Now sages may have crap stats, but Thoron hits really hard, so you'll want to take out them as quickly as possible. Swarm is back, of course. Swarm is actually a lot less troublesome than it used to be, though, I'll be honest with you. A bunch of guys up in that cell there with a chest, so, there are no captives in that cell this time. Tomahawk, another Thoron, yeah, you want to watch out for those. Thoron is painful, trust me. Whole bunch of chests there. Now here you have a Heretic Bishop, one of Garneth's henchmen, with the gloreh tone. Gloreh, yes, is a special spell, it ignores your resistance. Now, that's actually a lot more dangerous than it sounds, and gloreh hurts an awful lot. Bolgano there. A couple of generals who are a little special, I'll explain about them later. A bunch of guys down there. And the Dark Emperor himself. One of the few enemies in this game who has multiple droppable items. But anyway, Hardin has the same stats as he did back in when you saw it in Chapter 8. Which, you know, may or may not be good. In normal mode, he only has 20s and everything, so he's actually pretty easy. In this difficulty, he's a lot more difficult, only because of, and also, oh, what's that? Whoa, crap. Yep, there's an Earth Dragon in the palace. That's not good, considering that Goto said that the end of the world will be coming if the Earth Dragon never broke out. He has Dark Breath there, which, unlike the other Dragon Breaths, is long-ranged even on non-lunatic mode. So, yeah, he can attack you from long range no matter what. And yes, Earth Dragon was in fact the class of the final boss in the first game. Unlike the original Mystery of the Emblem though, that Earth Dragon is nowhere near Medius' level. In the original Mystery of the Emblem, that Earth Dragon had identical stats to the final boss of Book 1. Yeah. Now, if you're thinking, how the hell do we fight something like that? Well, in the remake with higher stat caps, it's actually not that hard to fight that thing. In fact, he's actually quite the pushover, in fact. You don't want to fight him on Lunatic mode, but even on regular hard. Also, since this is, you know, a pretty late in the game battle, I thought I may as well break out some of these Bond items. I mean, you know, they're not achieving anything sitting in the convoy. Now, of course, I'm going to bring out my best weapons too. See, Camus' Pike? Yeah, I'm going to give it to, this guy, you know, because he's... Oh, no, sorry, no. He's totally not that guy. No. And he totally doesn't have a reason to beat Hardin and find out if Nina is safe. No. Nope, he's someone completely different. Totally different. The mask makes him a completely different person. Sadly, that's not an unlikely theory, given that Marth didn't recognize Mary Sue when she had a mask on. Guess masks might have some kind of, I don't know, what you call it, low-level telepathic field or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to equip everyone with, yeah, now this chapter you actually want to break out your best weapons. Even though it's not really the final chapter, don't hesitate to bring out the regalia, silver weapons all round. Everyone should have silver weapons at the very least. You got any really powerful forge weapons to use them. You got some of the massively powerful weapons like Ogma's Blade or Camus' Pike from How's Everyone? Bring those too. You don't want to pull any punches in this chapter because, well, on normal it's not too bad, but on the higher difficulty, this chapter can actually be pretty, well, kind of epic. So, you want to make sure you're bringing your best. So, again, I mean, by this point your character should have good enough stats to see you through, but you really want to make sure you bring the best weapons. Bring the regalia just in case. You're going to want them for Hardin, because his defense is actually pretty high by the standards of this game. Like, as in very high. You also definitely want to break out the recover staves, physic. You also want to bring rescue, and you'll find out why once the chapter starts. But yes, bring the rescue staff. Because there's a certain someone who's almost impossible to save without it. Yeah, that meant that in the original Mystery of the Emblem, you needed to bring, Yumina along for this one. But now anyone can use the rescue staff. Like, literally anyone, because it's an E-rank staff. Thought I may as well give Marth a couple of, stat potions, just because, yeah. So basically what these things do is they give you a +2 boost to a certain stat for the whole chapter. However, there's one thing you need to know. These boosts will not go over caps. And what this means is, notice how Sirius there has 21 speed +4, which brings him up to 25. That is in fact his speed cap. If Sirius gains one more point of speed this chapter, which he probably will, the bonus will go down to +3, because the boosts from that speed bond will not exceed stat caps. So it will modify itself to accommodate for that fact. The Star Sphere, on the other hand, does let you exceed your caps. Oh, you also want to bring Julian, by the way. There's just a huge bunch of chests, and, well, let's be honest, you don't want Marth to be regulated to chest getting duty in this chapter. Speed Bond is going to be useless on Fina, but, I decided... Sorry. I decided to give her a bunch of items just in case I need some more potions during the chapter, and a Speed Bond on Ryan to ensure he, you know, speed cooperates and actually doubles things. Now I might want to break out one of those magic bombs on Elwood. Do I have any of those? Oh, I've got a magic potion, that's all I've got. That's probably fine. Oh, and speed bond, of course, to ensure that his speed is up to scratch. Anyway, I mean, you could even bring the Again staff to this chapter if you want, but I would probably much prefer it to be used for the final chapter. Of course, if you don't have all the spheres by now, this is the final chapter, so go ahead and bring all your best weapons and stuff. Yeah, there's also a lot of experience to be had here. I've also given Katria a steel axe so she can make use of her new D rank. And a defense potion just to boost that, just to make her a bit more of a flying tank than she already is. Oh, of course, don't forget the IoT shield, otherwise, what's the point of making you a flying tank? So, right then. I don't know why I did that. Let's go save and see if there's anything else we can do. Right then, let's we might need to shift around some characters. Now we are going to have to get as far away from our starting position as possible because there are some fairly tough reinforcements there. Switching Mary Sue. I guess maybe she'll be a paladin this chapter. As a heads up, by the way, my unit does have a special boss conversation with Hardin, one of the few special boss conversations in the game, actually. Funnily enough, they actually do have a special conversation with him if you somehow have them attacked by Hardin back in Chapter 8. Of course, if that's the case, your my unit will die, so don't do that unless you've got a save state or something. I've actually got that recorded, so I might show off that quote later on, but I believe Marth probably would also have a special boss quote with Hardin if he attacked him in Chapter 8. Of course, that's pretty much a guaranteed game over, so don't even think about doing that. And anyway, yes, Marth also has a special boss dialogue with Hardin in this chapter too. But strangely enough, the Wolfguard don't, which is really weird, because you'd think they would, given that their whole motivations back in the last chapter was basically saving Hardin from what he's become. So yeah, I think it's really stupid that the Wolfguard don't have special boss conversations with him, especially Wolf, because Wolf, yeah, would be really conflicted over fighting him. Anyway, I think it's about time we got this party started. Let's bring down the Dark Emperor's Reign of Terror once and for all after we swap around some characters' positions right then. Or are we fine? Are we fine? We may be fine, I don't know. Yep, we're fine. Okay, right now. And yes, you'll see Midia here, she was talked about a lot in the last chapter, but also note that Hardin is now using Garnef's theme, probably a sign of just how far the corruption's got to him. Also, that's surely you, Jeff. That line's been used in a lot of Fire Emblems, but I always love it. Anyway, and of course you know that Hardin is way too far gone when he says this, because you know the real Hardin actually genuinely loved her, so he'd never do this to her. Yeah, he'd never do that. So anyway, Hardin's pretty much completely lost his mind by this point, as you can tell. But, yeah, at least he's not using the Ancient Mage Dragon as his theme anymore, because that totally doesn't... Well, music-wise it does fit, but name-wise, not really. This line reminds me of Zephyl back in Fire Emblem 6, actually. In fact, there are a lot of parallels between Hardin's role in this game and Zephyl's role in that one, but I might talk about those a bit later. Firstly, yeah, I'm also really glad that Hardin is not using the Proud Commander as his theme. Yeah, anyway, the first thing we want to do is we want to go up here and use the rescue staff on Midia now. Because if you don't do this, she will die. Now, those two generals don't actually start attacking her immediately. I'm guessing that because Hardin said there he wants Midia to watch while he kills Marth, that they don't actually start attacking her until Marth has got close to Hardin. That triggers a special event, and you'll see that a bit later. But for the time being, I think they won't attack Midia just yet, but you can never be too careful, so I always like to rescue her immediately. Again, it's almost impossible to save her without the rescue staff, and while I'm going on and on and on about Midia, why don't I actually talk about her a little bit? Midia, well, there's not very much to say, actually. Like I was saying before in the last chapter, she seriously suffers from famed in story, can't back it up in gameplay syndrome. Yeah, there are a lot of characters in the Fire Emblem series like that, and Midia certainly qualifies. I mean, even in Shadow Dragon, she was always just a sort of subpar pre-promote. I mean, now, her bases are marginally better. They're still not that great. I mean, they were good by the standards of the original mystery, but again, of course, in the original mystery, she was kind of worthless considering that almost the entirety of the rest of the game were indoor chapters, but now, well, still. I mean, she's probably better than Roshi, just on account of her averaging better skill and speed, but her strength really leaves something to be desired. And her defense, that doesn't really end up all that high either, so, and her luck is, well, wow, very, very bad, so, yeah, Midia is, the real problem she suffers from is the fact she joins so late and at level 12. That means she only has 8 levels to make use of her growth. That's, yeah, that's kind of a problem. So, yeah, there's real, and with all these other much better paladins in this game, even if pre-promotes are your thing, you want to use Sirius or Abel rather than her or any of the other pre-promote paladins we've got in Chapter 19 on this one. It's important she survives, but for other reasons you'll see at the end of this chapter. But, anyway, Midia is, well, again, famed in story, can't back it up in gameplay. That pretty much sums her up. Oh, by the way, just like back in the last chapter where she got captured, yes, in fact, a lot of people have made fun of the fact that Midia did indeed get captured in the same place twice. Admittedly, Harden, well, he is pretty powerful, and the first time, well, she actually put up a pretty good fight before she got captured. You'll see if you decide to play the Akaneian Chronicles bonus maps. She's actually pretty useful there, I'll be honest. She kind of acts like the pseudo-Jigen of that map. And she's actually pretty good there, so, well, for what she does, so... Because, you know, in the bonus maps, because there's no experience, well, there is experience, but because the levels don't actually carry over to the main story, there's not really that much penalty for using pre-promotes there, so... Really, like, stats or raw stats are all that matters, and for that, you know, she can be pretty decent. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm carrying the Geosphere back to Ryan, because I forgot to take it... I took it off and forgot to give it back to Ryan. Anyway, you actually want Midia to keep moving with you, because there are some reinforcements that come from the very start, and she will have some serious trouble with them. Of course, she'll also have serious trouble with the Swarm Bishops, so don't go into their range. Now, these two heroes, yeah, they've got, 21 speed, which is surprisingly high by this point in the game. But, yeah, Narval is much faster than... Oh, come on! He's 1 point off maximum speed. I mean, he's pretty much guaranteed to max out speed, and probably skill too, but... And eventually strength, but, for the time being, yeah. 21 speed is not enough for Katria to double, and in fact, Katria really doesn't double much at this point in the game, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, I guess on the higher difficulties, 23 speed just isn't all that much, usually. I mean, that's why speed matters in this game. But then again, Katria has enough strength and defense to actually, benefit. And by the time she stops doubling, generally, she's been doubling for a good part of the game. So, she has been useful for quite a while. And at this point, Katria really has nothing to gain but, you know, luck and defense, really. But, I mean, you do want to get her to get defense. There is very little chance of her actually maxing defense, considering the class of a 30 defense cap. You'll probably need stat boosters to get her there. If she does get there, though, she'll be even more broken than she already is. But on just her raw growth, she's probably not going to get there. So she may need some slight help. Again, same thing applies to most paladins with their 30 defense cap, except a paladin in my unit with good defense growth boosts in past, present, and future probably can reach that. And she's well on her way to maxing luck, I guess that'll help her, but I hate 25 speed cap. At least Olivia in Awakening with a better speed cap. I think she's got like 40 or something, that's pretty decent anyway. Make sure Julian doesn't get in range of these guys if you haven't trained him. Now remember what I said about Swarm not being so much of a problem anymore? Yeah, Swarm has really bad accuracy at this point, and this is at the beginning when we didn't have such high evasion stats. It was kind of a threat, but it's still not really doing much, and... Why are you going to be serious? And it doesn't really do all that much even if it does hit you now. I mean, Meteor is really the new Swarm, but Meteor is exclusive to a couple of bosses, so... Anyway, now, Tomahawk again, and 23 strength. Yep, those stats are getting higher. Of course, nothing compared to my warrior strength, but still. Ooh, Bast's not doubling. That is... Well, he's doubling this guy. What, so snipers are getting doubled by someone with not their speed? That is not a good sign. Really not a good sign. Then again, snipers in this game in general, their speed usually isn't their strong point unless their name is NOOO. Well, I mean, Ryan usually has decent speed, but he's getting a bit screwed in my playthrough. But anyway, right, we will want to try and go for that safe soon as we can, because there's going to be quite a bit of reinforcements coming. We also don't want to open that... Oh, crap, Sword Slayer, yep. Yeah, probably safest to have to fight this guy. And that was the Geosphere's work, isn't that critical there? Anyway, probably safest to fight this hero here with someone other than Ogma or Narval. Yikes. Yeah, you gotta watch out for swords. Well, I mean, at least it's not as bad as it was in Fire Emblem 7 when the Sword Slayer was an axe that reversed the weapon triangle and had an even bigger hit bonus. Because I believe Reaper weapons actually gave you a bigger weapon triangle hit bonus than the normal weapon triangle did. So, yeah, that was really, really annoying. And thanks to those potions Sirius ingested, he didn't need to double. Unfortunately, this guy, I believe, is going to level up first. See if I can show off that. Nope, no speed, so I can't. Oh, but at least strength and defense is good. Anyway, no, he didn't drop anything, so no second Sword Slayer for you. In fact, I really should have brought the Sword Slayer here. Did I? I forget. There are a lot of heroes here. Of course, you don't see enemy Sword Masters very much. Well, actually, there are more in this game, actually, because Sword Masters didn't exist in this game. You do not, however, you never see an enemy Falconite, despite the fact that there are a whole bunch of enemy Pegasus Knights, you never see an enemy Falconite. That's probably the one class, new class introduced, the more modern class. Probably the only one that, never sees an enemy in this game. Come to think of it, I don't think you actually see any enemy Manakins in this one. They're all just transformed dragons, which is weird, because enemy Manakins were really, really common back in the last game. There are a couple in this very castle, if I remember. Yeah, this map is, based off one from, back in Shadow Dragon, Akaneian Palace, but it's got a bit of a different tint to it this time. And that's an interesting thing. Out of all the chapters that use this music player phase theme playing now is called Liberation. Out of all the chapters that use Liberation as their map theme, only one of them, and that's chapter 18, is not recycled from Shadow Dragon. But interestingly enough, they managed to recycle maps from Shadow Dragon, and it still manages to feel fresh and better than that game. I guess, yeah, they just do more unique stuff with the maps this time, you know, with having the whole Noctil Brass Soldiers thing and the whole general getting critical by warriors, no, I mean... And you might want to also notice that, okay, see where I told you Thoron hurts? It also has a crit rate, and you really don't want to be critted by Thoron. Yeah, that's going to decimate pretty much anyone without a resistance stat, and that is about 99% of the cast. Well, he's max skill now. But he might need a bit of healing now. Good thing I got that recover staff. So satisfying to watch how fast the recover staff heals HP. Anyway, now I can take out this guy so that it's safe for Julian to advance. And you might also see that we're getting some very good experience from the enemies here. That's because a lot of the enemies here are level 15 promoted. That is pretty high by our standards, and later on you'll be seeing some level 20 promoted enemies in this chapter, so this map really doesn't pull its punches. On normal mode it's not that bad, but on the higher difficulties, it actually really does feel like it could easily be a final chapter. Like, it actually does feel... Oh, come on! Oh, that's a javelin for you. Stupid nerf javelin. That's with a strength potion on Sheeta, by the way. Come on, critical. No, critical. Stupid nerf javelins. I wonder if they did that because of Wi-Fi, I don't know. And of course, spears aren't nerfed, and you never get one. Stupid cheating AI. Anyway, Julian will survive one swarm based on my calculations. It has 18 attack power, and given that he has 0 resistance but 20 HP, he'll survive that. But he just won't be able to get hit by multiple ones at once. So we're gonna have to crack open that door and kill all those guys in there as soon as we possibly can. Ooh, that is not gonna cut it. So soon we'll be going through there after we've hit the next save point. Oh yes, like this chapter actually does have a pretty epic feel to it in the higher difficulties at least, and again, it's something that could feasibly be a final chapter. Yeah, on normal mode it's kind of a pushover, but then again, most late game chapters on normal mode are, except maybe 22. 22 I still found annoying, but for one reason that we'll get to later. the only type of dragon possibly second most annoying next to wyverns. And see, look at that, 7% crit rate on a spell that's already doing 27 damage, almost half my HP. Yeah, I do not want to risk that. Athena is probably fine going into swarm range. Okay, one needs healing, probably shouldn't waste recover start doing that, but anyway. Does recover get better experience than... Okay, yeah, now that's what I was talking about with keeping Meteor away from the start. Yeah, see those paladins there? Well, I'll show you their stats in a little bit, and you'll be glad that you didn't leave anyone back there. Ugh, bloody fortify staves, I hate them. How on, you can dodge this, you can dodge this. Oh, come on. But this Sage's gonna die at least. He's gonna die very painfully. Goodbye, Sage, you will not be missed. And Ryan is well on his way to leveling up. And yes, these paladins are going to be on your heels very, very quickly. And yes, they are powerful. Okay, right then. These two, I probably don't want to attack them until I get the save point. Just want to make sure I'm not in range of the Earth Dragon, because I'll talk about him a little bit later. But for now, we're hitting the save point. And I'm not going to cut it just there, because I actually think that this video will be of a better length, and it'll be a better place to stop if I actually continue a little bit further, past the save point. This will actually be the first time I don't actually end a video right on the save point. That was due to circumstances that, well, I'll explain later. Anyway, now, if you're wondering why I'm skipping through all this stuff very fast, it's because I have a bit of a story here. This next segment you're about to see, probably from now until the end of the video, this recording you're seeing, this was maybe the 6th time oh, come on, Ryan. Still no speed. This was maybe the 6th time I had to record this same footage. Remember back in Chapter 18 where I said my thing crashed about 3 times before I finally managed to get it recorded? Yeah, this time my emulator was really crash happy. One night, I spent hours just trying to record this one bit. Every time, it would always crash. It's even more painful given that there's actually going to be a big story scene coming up in a bit, and I had to sit through that every single time. But anyway, yeah, this crashed an awful lot, and it made me really pissed off. So, in fact, the last time I attempted it that night, it crashed within a few seconds of me starting. So I think the game was trying to tell me something then. Fortunately, I tried again the next morning, and it worked, so I guess it needed a rest, but still, it was really irritating, this happening. So anyway, this is probably about the 6th time I had to record this entire segment, so yep, I'm doing things really fast because I'm repeating most of the things I did in the earlier runs, really. Now, something you're probably about to see is... Wait a minute, Julia needs to double back because I prefer to have him go off and get this chest. More reinforcements. I haven't shown their stats yet, have I? But these guys are actually quite dangerous. They're level 20 paladins, and they have some pretty nice items too. So, they hurt quite a lot. There's also 3 waves of them, and 3 waves of 4 each, and that's quite a lot, so... Fortunately though, there's a very convenient place to blockade them off. Now, I'm also going to put Sheeta right on the edge of their range with the Wind Spear, just to guarantee that I kill one of them. Got to get Julian out of these paladins' range, and also really want to get Meteor out of their range. She will not survive these guys. Yeah, these paladins are quite annoying. Now, for the time being, I'm going to send one team over here to block over to the right to block off the paladins, and another group of characters down the bottom to deal with the Earth Dragon and some reinforcements that will soon be spawning. Deal with the Earth Dragon, you say? Why, you're insane! No, actually I'm not. The Earth Dragon's bark is worse than its bite. Very, very much so. In the original Mystery of the Emblem, this wasn't the case, but in this game, the Earth Dragon is really kind of pretty pathetic, actually, as you'll soon see. But anyway, sending Mark down here to get the chests. Thank goodness for the Fire Emblem. Anyway, though, in fact, I may even lure the Earth Dragon right now. Yep, sounds nuts, but it's actually going to work out rather well for me. Anyway, now, this conversation here occurs on, I lost count of the turns. Whatever turn this is, or when Marth gets close to Hardin, whichever occurs first. Now, they basically engage in a bit of a big conversation, but it has some gameplay effects. Basically, after this happens, you'll see a noticeable effect on the enemy's numbers. So basically, I find sweet and naive kind of weird, given that in Japanese, sweet and naive are in fact the same word, which Gaia relies on for a lot of his puns in, that game, so, in Awakening, so... Yeah, not sure how they're going to translate that. But anyway, basically Hardin is going on about this whole speech about how Marth would be nothing if it weren't for him, and how he was always jealous and always despised him. We know that those are gigantic lies, caused by the Dark Sphere. Yeah, of course it has nothing to do with that all. Yeah, why is Marth so quick to believe him? Yeah, no, basically, I'm pretty sure most of these are lies, because there was no indication Hardin ever hated Marth back in Shadow Dragon, so... that line. if there was... I could actually imagine that being a voice-acted cutscene, and I'm guessing that the actor would really ham it up for that line. I would like to see that, actually. But anyway... after Earth Dragon, more paladins spawn, and also the lower room that was previously locked opens up, and reinforcements start spawning from it. Now, you might remember that was actually where Heimler appeared in the original Shadow Dragon, but no crazy non-boss face portrait, no dialogue guides in this chapter. Instead, there's just a couple of visions and a chest. Now, in the original Mystery of the Emblem, I believe that chest contained something totally worthless, so it was best to ignore it. In this game, no, definitely not worthless. So, yeah. Wait, is this a fourth wave of paladins or the third? I've lost count. But anyway, that's a lot of paladins. The paladins will stop now, but there is one more wave of reinforcements from the lower room. So you don't have to worry about sending a thief or a door keys character to unlock that room. It'll unlock on its own. In fact, I'm pretty sure, unless you Warpstaff someone, there's really no way you can not unlock that room without actually getting close to Hardin first. But anyway, these paladins can be kind of tough. But first, we'll see the Earth Dragon. And you'll see just how pathetic the Earth Dragon really is. Come on, Narbal, show us how it's done. Yes, that's right, the Earth Dragon went down in one critical. Oh, I can't help but laugh at that. That is just pathetic. That is absolutely pathetic. To think that guy had the same stats as the final boss of Shadow Dragon in the original Mystery of the Emblem. Of course, in the original Mystery, things would have gone very differently, because in the original Mystery, Earth Dragons had this gimmick, where any attacks directed at them would have their might halved. Kind of like Julius has that effect in Fire Emblem 4 as well, for any weapon not named Naga. But yes, the final boss of the original Mystery Book 1 had that effect too. And yes, it was a trait of all Earth Dragons. They had this weird kind of aura. I don't know whether it was a property of their breath or not. Basically, it was done so that, I kind of wanted Ogma to get the kill here, but he wouldn't be able to without resorting to the Mercurius, and I don't want to waste that. But fortunately, he got like it. Anyway. Yeah, back then the Earth Dragons had this thing that halved the damage of all attacks directed at them. You'll notice here that the Paladins are getting huge amounts of experience. That's because they're actually level 20, as you'll see there. And those stats are actually pretty good by Paladin standards, so yeah, they're nothing to be trifled with these guys. They've also all got either silver weapons or spears, so thankfully not forged spears, but on Lunatic mode, which by the way has been renamed Insane mode in the Awakening, just a bit of news there. In fact, that also confirms that that Lunatic has not been removed, the English version of Awakening, like Maniac was in Path of Radiance. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Of course, in that game, there is no Maniac. Lunatic is just the next one up from hard. Don't even get me started on Lunatic Plus. Anyway, time to loot some chests and get Narval and Hatria ready for those reinforcements coming from the bottom. There's quite a good variety of reinforcements there. Heroes, snipers, maidens, sages, whatever, warriors, which weren't in the original Mystery of the Emblem. See, look how much experience these guys give you. Fortunately, Fast doesn't really need it. Well, unfortunately, Fast doesn't really need it, but anyway. Mary Sue really is not actually doing so well with the level up, so she needs to get a bit more experience. And anyway, so basically that Earth Dragon was pretty pathetic. In the original Mystery of the Emblem, you did not want to fight that Earth Dragon. And on the higher difficulties of this game, I would advise you to do the same, because it can be really nasty. I'm gonna have to stop this video soon, but anyway, I'll just say that, yes, there is a way, though. You can, if you want to get past the Earth Dragon without fighting it, if you're playing one of the high difficulties, I'd advise taking a detour through the treasure room. That does, however, give you less room to attack Hardian, and less freedom of who to attack him with. But you do avoid the Earth Dragon. And if you avoid the Earth Dragon until you've defeated Hardian, well, something a bit special happens, which I'll talk about later. But first, it looks like we may be stopping soon. So, yeah. Okay, I will admit I did use a save state here, but let me just put this out there. I did use a save state here, and I'm going to stop it right now. Sorry, I'm going to talk for a tiny bit longer. I did use a save state here, but I actually didn't lose anyone from here right up to the end of the chapter, so I don't really consider it cheating. I never had to reload from a save state. The only reason I did use a save state was because of all the crashes. I just got fed up. I did not want to risk having to go all the way to the next save point before I had to stop the recording. Because when my thing crashes, I lose everything I've recorded, so that is annoying. But, anyway, before we leave, I'm going to pose a question to you before we go to the next part. Something to think about before you watch the next video. Right, here is the question. It is shamelessly stolen from serenadesforest.net's Fire Emblem quizzes, but I still think this is quite interesting, and I really need to mention it this chapter. Anyway, here it is. Heartless fiends who point their arrows at our holy kingdom. If you wish to set foot inside Arcania Palace, then you'll have to kill me first. Who says this line? Is it A. Astrum, B. George, C. Midia, or D. Heimler? Now, just another hint for you. This is an unused battle conversation from the original Mystery of the Emblem that took place in this chapter. So, can you figure out who said it? The answer is not quite who you'd think. Find out the answer next time.